25 billion people watches, as finally the Populous probe reaches Tannis orbit, the only Earth-like planet known to exist. The data transferring exceeding even the most optimistic expectations. Water, reasonable temperatures are present, and a plant life is discovered. Only a matter of time before they send people out there. During this time, Earth resources depletes. Food and water are very scarce, and humanity is in brink of extinction. In the year 2174, humanity launches the spacecraft Elysium on an ambitious mission to colonize a distant planet named Tannis. Aboard the Elysium are 60,000 souls, scientists, pioneers, and dreamers. They embark on a 123-year journey to a new world, driven by the hope of giving humanity a second chance at survival. Their mission is clear: to establish a new home on Tannis and ensure the future of the human race. During the journey, 2 members of the flight crew awaken from hypersleep due to a scheduled crew rotation, a standard protocol for long-term missions. However, something goes terribly wrong. As they navigate the dark and labyrinthine corridors of the ship, they make a chilling discovery. Vicious creatures are aboard the Elysium. These predators have been lurking in the shadows long before the crew awoke. Corporal Bauer, played by Ben Foster, and Lieutenant Peyton, played by Dennis Quaid, awaken from hypersleep. However, their emergence is far from smooth. Both suffer from partial amnesia and show signs of pandorum, a space-related disorder that causes psychosis under extreme stress. They soon discover that the ship is in chaos, with power surges disrupting operations due to an unstable nuclear reactor. Unable to access the bridge, the two decide to split up. Peyton stays behind to work on the ship's computer, while Bauer navigates the ventilation system in search of the reactor. While navigating the ventilation system, Bauer, who is claustrophobic, begins to panic and urgently tells Peyton that he needs to get out. Recognizing the situation, Peyton quickly cracks a silly joke to help Bauer calm down and ease his anxiety. After exiting the ventilation system, Bauer realizes he has lost communication with Peyton. Determined to assess the ship's status, he moves into the corridors. There, he spots a woman and tries to talk to her, but she quickly runs away. Without hesitation, Bauer chases after her. When he thinks she has finally stopped running, Bauer approaches, only to find a disemboweled body hanging in the shadows. Shocked and frozen by the gruesome sight, he is caught off guard as the woman suddenly attacks, pressing a knife to his neck. The woman demands that Bauer remove his shoes, but before he can respond, a distant roar echoes through the corridors. Startled, the woman quickly disappears into the shadows, leaving Bauer behind. From a distance, he notices a flickering blue light, and the screeching grows louder. The lights reveal themselves to be blowtorches mounted on spears, carried by pale, scar-covered humanoid creatures clad in armor. Panic rising, Bauer darts into a nearby room and hides inside a storage compartment. Moments later, Peyton's voice crackles through the radio, asking what happened. Shaken by what he just witnessed, Bauer urgently tells him there's something on board, something not human. Their memories gradually return, and they recall their mission: to bring the ship to Tannis, carrying 60,000 passengers on board. Bauer suddenly remembers his wife and becomes determined to find her before the creatures can. Peyton, striving to be the voice of reason, urges him to stay focused on reaching the reactor. He explains that repairing it will restore power to the ship, enabling them to activate security measures and safeguard everyone on board. Bauer agrees and surveys the security room. Among the equipment, he discovers a non-lethal anti-riot gun, though Peyton warns him it can be deadly at close range. Bauer straps it to his arm for protection and continues navigating the ship's dimly lit corridors. Along the way, he encounters a man suspended from the ceiling. Believing the man to be dead, Bauer approaches cautiously, until the man's eyes suddenly snap open in panic. Acting quickly, Bauer helps him down and cuts him free. The man introduces himself as Shepard, played by Norman Reedus, and explains that he's part of another group, though he's been surviving alone for a long time. As they talk, Shepard begins covering himself in oil, telling Bauer it helps mask his scent from the creatures. Just as he prepares to leave, blue lights flicker in the distance, a telltale sign of the creatures. Moments later, they emerge. With no time to waste, Bauer and Shepard are forced to flee, The creatures eventually capture Shepard and string him back up. Desperate to save him, Bauer raises his weapon, but a glass door blocks his shot. Helpless, he watches in horror as the creatures slice open Shepard's stomach and begin to feed. Then, one of them notices Bauer. With a chilling screech, the creatures launch into pursuit, forcing Bauer into a frantic race for his life, and narrowly avoids capture, saved at the last moment by a man who doesn't speak English. Soon after, they encounter Nadia. Bauer urges them to stick together, believing their chances of survival will be greater as a group. Nadia is hesitant at first but eventually agrees to help. She later leads them to the embryonic chamber, a secure area containing livestock and wildlife meant for repopulation, essentially a miniature version of the world they are destined to inhabit. She explains that the ship functions as a modern-day Noah's Ark. Back in the control room, Peyton regains consciousness after suddenly blacking out while trying to communicate with Bauer. He hears a noise coming from beneath a pile of cables and discovers another survivor, Gallo, who appears to be in shock, likely having just awakened from hypersleep. Meanwhile, the trio reaches the hypersleep chamber, where the ship's personnel were supposed to be located. To their shock, they discover that most of the chambers are empty. Nadia explains that this area has become the hunting ground of the creatures, and that most of the crew have already been killed and eaten. As they prepare to move to the next section of the ship, one of the creatures spots them and attacks Nadia. Bauer tries to intervene, but the creature is too strong. Just in time, the man who doesn't speak English, now revealed to be named Man, strikes the creature in the head with his blade, momentarily weakening it. Seizing the opportunity, the three of them work together to finish it off. Before they can catch their breath, more creatures arrive and begin chasing them. However, some of the creatures pause to devour the one they just killed. It becomes disturbingly clear that these creatures will eat anything, even their own kind. While escaping, Man discovers a hidden room where they encounter another survivor named Leland, who reveals he was a cook before everything went wrong. Leland explains that he has been awake for years, surviving on the water seeping through parts of the ship and the algae it fosters. Leland provides food to Bauer and his group, then shows them a series of mural drawings that reveal the grim history of the ship. After Earth was destroyed by an unknown catastrophe, Gallo lost his sanity, killed his crew, and triggered Pandorum and other passengers. He manipulated the survivors into adopting a violent tribal way of life before returning to hypersleep. Over time, an enzyme designed to help colonists adapt to life on Tannis accelerated their evolution, turning their descendants into cannibalistic mutants. As Leland tells the story, Bauer and the others begin to lose consciousness and eventually wake up tied up. Leland plans to eat them, but Bauer manages to convince him that the ship's reactor must be stabilized immediately, or it will be too late for everyone. Bauer uses Leland's radio to communicate with Peyton, who informs them that they have less than an hour before the reactor completely shuts down. The group moves quickly to fix it. Meanwhile, Peyton and Gallo argue about the reactor's condition. Gallo insists it will go into meltdown if they attempt to restart the core and suggests abandoning the ship. Peyton quickly rejects the idea, which enrages Gallo. The team reaches the reactor, only to find that the area below it is the creature's sleeping ground. As Bauer attempts to cross a catwalk, it gives way. Man grabs hold of it while Nadia rushes to help. Realizing that Man can't hold both their weight, Bauer lets himself fall into the nest below. To avoid detection, he covers himself in slime to mask his scent and crawls through the horde toward a ladder leading up to the reactor. Just as he reaches it, Leland accidentally drops a light, waking the creatures. He flees, while Man drops the catwalk, crushing a few and distracting the rest. Bauer climbs to the reactor and restores power, electrocuting some of the creatures in the process. While escaping, Man encounters the leader of the creatures. Knowing he can't outrun it, he decides to fight. The battle is fierce, but Man manages to kill the leader despite his injuries. As he tries to recover, a mutant child appears. Man hesitates, unsure of what to do. That moment of hesitation costs him dearly. The child quickly slashes his throat with a hidden blade. Meanwhile, Gallo becomes increasingly agitated, prompting Peyton to prepare a sedative. Before he can act, Gallo attacks him, and the two struggle for control of the needle gun. During the chaotic altercation, their arms seem to merge, and the horrifying truth is revealed. Peyton is the only person there. He has been fighting himself all along. As his memories fully return, it is revealed that Peyton is actually Gallo. Long ago, upon learning that Earth was gone, Gallo succumbed to Pandorum and killed the real Peyton. In his delusional state, he mistook himself for Peyton after using his pod to return to hypersleep. Leland reaches the bridge and encounters Gallo. He begins to explain that he helped Bauer restart the reactor, but before he can finish, Gallo quickly stabs him with the needle gun. When Bauer and Nadia find Peyton, he reveals that his real name is Gallo and that his memories have fully returned. When Bauer asks where they are, Gallo opens the shutters on the bridge's windows, revealing a vast emptiness with no stars in sight. Speaking with eerie calm, Gallo claims that there is no God and that Earth and humanity have long since vanished. In this new reality, he says, morality no longer matters. There's no right or wrong anymore. He insists that the violent, chaotic existence they've devolved into is the only way to survive, and argues it should be preserved rather than replaced by a rebuilt civilization. Nadia spots glowing sea creatures outside the window, and the computer reveals a shocking truth. 923 years have passed since the mission began. The ship had reached Tannis 800 years ago, landing in the ocean unnoticed by anyone on board. Suddenly, Bauer begins hallucinating a mutant attack. In his panic, he fires his weapon, accidentally damaging the bridge's windows. Water bursts into the ship, flooding the area rapidly. Bauer and Nadia race to a hypersleep pod and eject just in time. The flooding triggers the ship's emergency system, ejecting the remaining 1,211 untouched pods to the surface. Meanwhile, Gallo and the remaining mutants are trapped and drown as the ship is consumed by water. Bauer and Nadia's pod surfaces near a pristine, lush coastline. As they take in the view, they watch other pods ascending from the water, marking humanity's rebirth. Bauer smiles softly and rests his head against Nadia's, overwhelmed with relief. They have finally completed their mission. If you loved this recap, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss out on more free movie recaps. Got a movie in mind that you want us to break down? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.